What's up, Plantation Golf Club? Long time no see.
How long has it been?
It's been about 5 months since October the 5th.
Time flies, that's for sure.
Time
Beard's probably
flies when you're
longer.
having fun. We know we were in the season. Chris still has his beard.
I do. We got some problems, but we're getting there. I mean,
We're
gosh,
slowly
we're
getting
down to
there.
like five
Yep.
more greens that I just can't push over the edge. We get like 95% full, and then surprises happen. But
Sure,
you
sure.
know, we get through it. Just keep changing. Just keep tweaking. Just keep changing. Just keep making things happen. So
Good.
someday we'll get it all.
Oh, we're definitely going to get
We're
there.
close. We're very
Especially
close.
your leadership and stuff over
Yeah.
here and the maintenance department. We're
Yeah.
moving along quite well. Very excited with where we're at and where we're headed.
Well, lots of efficiency changes. Like I've always, did I say that right? Efficiency. Okay. But anyways, I always talk about the four pillars of the golf course maintenance department. And that's the agronomy, the science behind it all, and the cultural practices, the equipment, of course, the irrigation, and of course the labor. And I feel like across the board, we just keep making little tweaks to all four of those things to
Sure.
where building that efficiency is
Yeah.
getting us where we want to be.
Yeah, and for
And
you, I mean, you're still
yeah,
like in the process of learning the property. I mean, you've been
exactly,
here almost a year, but
exactly.
we're
Yeah.
always still learning.
And we don't have like the ability to just take a magic wand and make it how you and I want to see it
Sure.
tomorrow and how y'all
Yep.
want to see it
Yep.
tomorrow. But we really are. We never go backwards, and that's what's important. Little gains every day.
Yep.
So
Excellent. So the plan is we're going to go on a few field trips here, show you guys some of the stuff from the past videos and the progress that we've made, and kind of go from there. But just real quick, Chris, I want to talk about the benefits of the course closures that we had over the summer,
yeah,
last summer, and what it
anticipate
brought.
doing them again.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
anticipate
for
doing
sure.
those again. But the help that it got us for uh, the actual golf season that we've been in.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that magic word, efficiency. Being able to just have the course to ourselves for an entire day gives us the chance to put all hands on deck on that golf course and make those things happen where otherwise we would have a hard time with play making some of those cultural practices happen. So
Sure.
to put it up in a nutshell.
Yeah, great. All right, guys, let's head out on the golf course and show you guys what's been going on. We're over here on number 3 green on Otter Creek. Definitely our most problematic green, actually, that we have out here. Chris said
Yep.
earlier, it's public enemy number 1 right now.
It has been from day one. This is the one that, if you remember back in video one, the boys were hand top dressing from side to side because the entire thing was just deteriorated. But what we've done recently is developed what I'm calling like a supplemental acre to the greens program, where we focus on a few of these greens that just they go backwards on us. Believe it or not, this green was about 95% covered at one point, and it's gone backwards. And when things go backwards on my watch, I take it personal. And this was a hard green for me to get on camera and stand on, to be perfectly honest with you. But I do believe adding the supplemental program to it, because it definitely needs more than like, for example, all of Crane's Roost and some of the better greens out here on Otter clearly are doing great with the program that we have in place now. But we need to do more to this one and a few others, and we'll start that now, and hopefully soon enough we'll
Yeah, and that's
trim
why
this
you're
up.
you're
So
still keeping the beard on because of greens like this one,
greens
right?
like this one,
You don't feel like it's a good time to
yeah,
cut that beard off.
and I'm sure we'll go to 17 cranes at some point today too,
Yep.
where that thing's 100% full, and that thing was a public enemy number one on cranes at the time, and but that
I
one's
think they're going to be
responded.
shocked at number
Yeah,
17
I think
crane
so too.
because I have been.
It's a caveat to, or what is it called, segue into that.
We're over here on number 6 Otter Creek, where Chris and his team harvested some sprigs from number 7
Yep.
over there between the tee boxes and the fairways. They harvested those over there, raked them up, brought them over here, and put them down. And Chris, what's happened here?
Well, I mean, back, I want to say it was late July, early August, this was completely desolate. This was 100% sand. And we did exactly what Brandon just said. We harvested those sprigs from the rough on number 7 and brought them here, planted them, watered the what out of them, and obviously continued weekly supplemental feedings to them to get them to take. And this is the result, like all the way, and you can't see it from here, but to the blue disc, which will be about 50 yards ahead of that stake we can see in the distance, was gone. And this whole stand of turf from here to there has completely grown in from those sprigs. So it was a neat idea, and it definitely worked out. It was economical and it was efficient, and it's kind of the name of the game is that efficiency. I keep saying so,
Absolutely.
and but it's worked out pretty well. So it'll just continue to go
Yeah,
now.
all this stuff right here is new grass.
It is, and on top of that, this hole had communication issues really from just ahead of where we're about to stop walking, all the way to the green. From here to the green is about 200 yards of heads that just aren't communicating. When from before we had an install done where not it wasn't completely finished. Let's put it that way. And what we're finding is we just have to go hole by hole, mainly on the front nine of Otter, and just keep finding them, trenching new lines, getting them to talk and communicate via the electric two-wire system. So this whole Jim and Phil, the irrigation team, they spent 2 weeks on this hole that just finished up yesterday, actually, and every head on this hole is now communicating. So something to look forward to is number 6 Otter really greening up and filling in
Sure,
like
and it's
never
going to fill
before.
up
So
all the way down through there, correct?
and there's still some holes like that. Anywhere there's still thin and weak turf out here, that's what it is. I mean, we just don't have the full communication, but one hole at a time, we've been dialing it in. So
We're on the front nine of Otter. Can anybody guess what hole that we are on here? Because if you'd have looked at this green, what,
last
7,
summer,
8 months
yeah,
ago, even maybe, probably even longer, you wouldn't recognize this hole
yeah,
at all. This is hole number 5 on Otter Creek. Up here was just desolate stuff.
yeah.
And it's grown in a lot better. It's still a little thin up there, but
Hmm.
it's not even remotely close to what it was. This
Absolutely.
green is probably 98, 99%
I mean,
coverage.
just about. I mean, yeah, some like you said, a little thin
If we had this
area.
here, you could definitely, across
Yeah,
the entire property,
I'd
we
call it.
would, we would cut your beard today.
Of those last few greens, and to be honest, this isn't even one of those greens we're supplementing. This one is doing fine on its own with the program that we've put across the board for all the greens. And then yeah, this almost this entire green was desolate. I actually had the luxury of playing golf with Zach, my son, and his 2 buddies that helped him this summer with pulling all the spurge out of these greens and spiking it up and top dressing by hand. And they were blown away by this very green. They were like, "This green was one of the worst," and it was. This green has responded, so it shows you that we're doing the things. Just like greens like number 3 over there are just needing more things.
We're over here on the front nine of Otter Creek on hole number 5. I wanted to show you guys the fairway here and the work that Chris has done. We still have a ways to go here, but it's much better than it was.
Yeah, and I mean the density isn't 100%. You can see that, but it's not zero either. So again, this is another one of those just real desolate holes that irrigation wasn't communicating like it should properly, and it was one that we many months ago dialed in, and just by having some water, we were able to get a lot of grass to recover on it. So no sprigs at all, just the grass that was here and some water and
Yeah.
obviously some fertility. And yeah, it's coming.
As you guys can see, we're over here on the driving range, and you see how kind of full it looks here. But on October 1st, Chris and his team put down overseed, and it didn't flourish like we thought it would.
No,
There's still a little bit of signs of it here and there. But go ahead, Chris. Go ahead and tell us what's going on over here.
actually, these little patches of it are volunteer rye weeds. So I mean, they'll obviously kick themselves out when the heat gets right. But what we're seeing here is predominantly the Bermuda. We do have this on our greens program, so everything we do to the greens, we do to this tee box. And as you can see, the runners are strong and healthy when you can pan into those. We do have some spurge showing us signs of nematode activity, but not to the point where it's taking over. So that's telling us we do have it under control. But then, yeah, these runners and
Yeah, look at
everything
these runners here.
are
Wow.
they're strong, they're healthy, they're definitely running like crazy. But that's the results of the green program. So, but yeah, we obviously with this spurge right here, that's the only thing where I'm standing over here. That's the only thing in this spot. So, this might be a place where we have to dig it out and maybe even sod this spot or plug it and get it to fill in, something like that. But the recovery effort here has been pretty awesome, and I'm happy with where we are compared to where we were for sure.
For many of you that have been around the plantation for a long time, you'll remember that there used to be a sign right here that said teaching area. Well, as you can see, that sign is no longer there. And in the previous videos, I mentioned that I had a surprise for you guys here. Well, the surprise is we turned this teaching area into our new wedge range. As you can see here, we have poles from 30 yards all the way out to 100 yards out there, and we have barrels out there that you can aim at. We have a bear, we have a deer, we have a pig, we have a turkey, stuff that you can aim at and make it fun to get out here and use this wedge range. So, with that being said, you look at the actual tee box area and you're like, what in the world? Where am I supposed to hit from? It's all beat up. Well, we're in the process of fixing that. And that's where Chris comes in to help get this
Yeah.
back in shape.
And again, just like some of these areas that were desolate, this is one of the most barren areas on this property at one time. It was just a heap of sugar sand. That Florida sugar sand you can barely even walk on. So I don't know if the video really shows it, but the unevenness is something that is not conducive to a solid tee box. However, we've been again putting this tee box in our greens program. It's been recovering and recovering and recovering. Now that we hit that season, it'll come even faster, and then we can work on leveling it. Extra top dress, drag it out, get it more level. So it's a work in progress. It can still be used,
Sure.
and I'll admit it's quite the spectacle to hear one of those barrels get hit. It makes a quite the sound, and then of course everybody just roars because it's
That's the
it's
fun
like
part of it.
somebody
That's why
right.
we put
It's
those
like
barrels out there.
you just hear that sound,
Yeah.
and it's
And when you
like,
guys
hey,
come out
somebody
here to the
got
wedge
one.
range and you see this spot right here, this is where all the yardages were measured for each of the poles out there for the 30 there that you can see, and then 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, all the way out to 100. But we've done some work on the range here. Pretty proud of where it's at. But obviously, we still have a long ways to go because we still have a lot of bare spots here and there that Chris and his team are going to be working on.
Indeed.
Well, with this sign, you obviously know where we're at. And just look at this approach, Chris. How fantastic does this look?
Yeah, that also went under our greens program. We spray the entire green, and then on top of that, we apply the program to the entire surround to try to bring it. And it was thin, it was patchy, and it was loaded with weeds at one time. And I'm excited about it. It's my favorite part is this walk up, and you can really chip some shots up from it and everything too.
Yeah,
Green isn't the best it's looked, admittingly, but we decided to put this into that supplemental acre that we're doing, and that should definitely help with some of these soil imperfections that have existed. You'll notice, speaking of soil imperfections, the new sod area that we put these 2 pallets of sod right over here. We obviously, when we brought that new sod in, new soil came with it, and it's doing really well versus the rest of the greens. So we obviously have some soil gremlins, if you will, to work out
sure.
underneath and get this back. But the beauty of that is it's that time of year where things come back quick now. So
Yeah. And the
the
stuff's
new
growing
yep.
and it's
So
great.
again, one of those things. We're happy where it's at. It's better than where it was. Still isn't perfect.
Yeah.
So
And one thing else that I want to mention that you'll notice out here is the putting course that we have. Starting here at hole one on the tee, you have a drink holder here, and we're going to putt to hole one there. And
there
we have
it
a
is.
9-hole putting course out here for you guys to take advantage of. So it's a great thing for the community to come out and enjoy. We're behind the clubhouse here with the practice putting green in the background to do our recap of today's videos that we made, of the field trips that we went on, starting out on number 3 Otter and going on over the different variations of stuff that's happened with that green throughout Chris's time here so far. And then we left there, headed over to number 6 Otter Creek, showing the fairway and the irrigation issues that we had and the new sprigs that you put down and how much that has progressed since you put those down. And then we went to number 5 Otter Creek and shown that green, and that's probably one of the top 5 greens out here, I would say.
That's right.
It's doing really well
Used to be
under
a
Chris's
bottom
leadership.
5.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
definitely
used
a
to be a
bottom
bottom
5.
5, but now
And it's number
it's on
5.
the rise. Yeah, there we go. And so I left that, and then we headed over to the driving range and showed you guys what's going on with the tee box over there, the wedge range, and the stuff that Chris is going to be doing to the wedge range tee box area with that. And then we finished up over here with the putting green and went into what has happened there with the new sod and
Mm-hmm.
other variations that Chris has done there.
Yeah,
What
and
else you want
then
to add there?
really, and then segues us into that new supplemental acre
Yeah.
that we just kind of came up with. I literally epiphanied it over this weekend, and it, I started off by everything was the same. I made a program for this entire golf course, all 38 greens, if you count the 2 practice greens, and slowly but surely I've had to tweak them. Like for example, we do a little bit different uh, growth regulator on Crane's Roost on account of all of the mutation that we have over there. We have more mutation on those greens than we do on Otter Creek. So we have, the products, for example, that being one example, we have products to kind of mitigate the individual problems that each course has. And with that being said, this supplemental acre that we just kind of developed, that's going to help us put the necessary extras, so to speak, on that 1 acre of greens. And that's most of the front greens on Otter, and I've included the putting green just since it is our high profile spot. I want to make sure it's perfect. So we also have talked a lot about the irrigation efficiencies that we've brought forth. That's really been the biggest thing. Without water, we have nothing. So a full detailed irrigation audit where we've identified all of the non-communicating areas and the stuff that's watering too long, stuff that's not watering long enough. We've mapped all that out. So we don't have a paper one yet, but we have on the computer, we do have a page by page map out of the entire irrigation system. So that's working so far. And we're building efficiency with that every day as well. So, just finding out where everything is and what needs to water more, what needs to water less, what needs to be an adjustable head, what needs to be a full circle, etc. So,
Perfect.
and yeah, we're just
Great job.
keep fine tuning that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you and your staff's effort, Chris, and getting these golf courses back in the shape that we all expect.
Definitely, I
We're
appreciate
not
that too.
there yet. We know that.
Yeah,
You know that.
yeah, yeah.
And but we're excited where we're headed.
Progress
So
has been great.
yeah.
So yeah.
So if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you think about our videos or
Get us
something that you want to
viral.
see in our videos. Just don't be too hateful. We have
Yeah,
thin skin.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Not in this business.
Can't, not
So
here.
definitely not.
So.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.